Hello, my name is Lucia, and in this video I'll be sharing with you how I graduated summa cum laude as a first-generation student in 4 years. I also want to mention that I was not a very happy camper in high school. I would cut class almost every day. I even got several detentions because of how often I cut class. And I honestly just struggled a lot in high school. Because of this, I didn't know, or I wasn't sure if I would do well in college. When I got to college, I had a complete 180 for the better. I found it to be a completely different learning environment and a completely different experience overall. I honestly feel like I fell back in love with learning in college, and I was meeting so many incredible people from all walks of life, of all ages, from all over the United States. And I felt really inspired by them and their stories. I have a lot to say if you are in high school watching this video. I just want to encourage you that college can be a completely different experience. Without further ado, here are the tips that allowed me to succeed academically in college and allowed me to achieve things that I never thought were possible for myself. Tip number 1 is to get organized before you start. My number 1 recommendation is to get oriented with all of the programs, softwares, and learning systems that you'll use at your school. So sometimes colleges will provide some of this information in a packet or during an orientation session. But for me, I learned the most from other students in college. I would encourage you before the quarter or semester even starts to get in touch with someone from the school, whether it be a friend who you know from high school, a college counselor, or even a professor. Reach out to them and see if they are able to help you identify what you'll need as far as your student accounts and those programs and softwares that you'll need to use, or even how or where to access it. Getting these accounts set up is key to being ready to start class on that first day, because oftentimes there's already going to be a lecture on the first day of class. So getting prepared and getting oriented and situated will allow you to be more comfortable and confident when you're sitting there on your first day of class, because you'll already have a sense of what's going on and some of the materials that the professor will cover if that has been posted on the syllabus or on an online lecture. This will help get you oriented and situated, feeling like you have an idea of what's going on and that you're already a little bit ahead of the curve, understanding where the lectures will be posted online, where you can access your student emails, and pretty soon you'll see those notifications and emails start popping up with professor introductions and lecture materials. Another way to get organized before you start is to review all the syllabi from all your classes. Usually before even the very first class, your professor will post a syllabus online with all of the important dates you need to know as far as assignment due dates, quizzes, exams, midterms, finals, etc. And that syllabus is like your golden ticket to acing the class. So all of this will help you get prepared even before that very first day of class. My second tip, and this I honestly did every single quarter in college, I created what I call a merged syllabus. Essentially, this is a compilation of all your class syllabi put into one table or spreadsheet. And I personally use a table in Word to do this, but you could also easily do this in Excel. The first thing I would suggest to do is to print all your syllabi, or otherwise have them all open in front of you on your laptop or tablet, and start filling out your table and spreadsheet in these 3 columns. Your first column being the class name, your second column being the assignment or exam name, and the third column being the date that the exam or assignment is due or expected to be due. In chronological order, starting from the first assignment or exam due to the very last one, go ahead and list out the class name, the assignments, the quizzes, exams, as well as all the dates. So you'll end up with this merged syllabus with all the important dates. Basically, it'll have a lot of information all in one place. And essentially at any time, I could look back at this merged syllabus and remind myself what the next upcoming assignment or quiz or exam date was. And I do recognize that this will take some time to go through each syllabus, listing out those dates, those assignments, those midterms, finals, and exams. But for me, the time that I put in was completely worth it, because I knew that I had this one table, this one spreadsheet that I could look at and easily go back to and identify when was that next upcoming assignment or that next quiz. So it really helped keep me on track, and for me, the payoff was tenfold, even considering how long it did take sometimes to compile all that information together. Tip number 3, your professor is your biggest ally. I think sometimes people forget how important the professor is in the college or university setting, how they can truly become one of your biggest allies. Getting in touch with your professor will help you so much. I even would go as far to say to make your professor your best friend, your buddy, your ally, in a professional way. This may be up for debate depending on who you ask, but I honestly believe that your professor can be your biggest ally. I truly believe that they want you to succeed in their class and that they're invested in their students and want them to do well. So my advice in 2 cents is to get to know your professor, and you'll also start to see that they're just human like you and me. They have hobbies and activities they like to do outside of work. They have families. So by connecting with them, by showing up to their office hours, by following up with them after class, this will actually help you with 3 things. This will help you understand the subject that they're teaching better. This will show them that you care and that you're invested in their class. And this will help you build connection and professional rapport with them. And another secret bonus I want to mention is that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when the professor notices that you're invested and you care about their class and you're trying to do well, sometimes what will happen is that you'll see that C+ you have curved up to a B, or you'll see your B+ curved up to an A. So that's just another incentive as to why it's a good idea to have your professor be your ally. Tip number 4, attend class even when you don't feel like it. Now, as you get further into college, you'll start to notice that a lot of the lectures and work is often posted online, or you could otherwise do from your laptop. You may also start noticing that some of your classmates skip class, or maybe they only show up when there's a quiz or midterm. And so I think you may start to feel the temptation of wanting to skip class or otherwise only show up for quizzes or midterms or finals. But the truth is that you're paying top dollar for your seat, whether that's to physically be there in person or to be there for an online lecture. So my recommendation is to try to make it to class as much as you possibly can. And there's also a few added bonuses to showing up and being present during class. You can also go to your professor after class or before class and ask them about any questions or anything you want to follow up on. You may also have chances to engage or interact with other students in your class who are able to support you in one way or another, or maybe they have more insight into some of the materials that you're learning about. This is just another way you can network and build some of your professional connections during college. Being present during class will also allow you to observe how the material is being taught. And this is important for a few reasons. So during class, you'll see the professor teaching the lecture, but sometimes they'll stop and emphasize a certain topic or a certain subject over the other ones. So for example, they may be repeating themselves or emphasizing a certain point or a certain topic. Maybe they're asking other students in the class about their thoughts on a certain topic, or otherwise just spending a little bit more time on a subject over all the other ones. These nuances may be subtle, but if you're able to pick up on this, and I think as you start learning the professor's style, you can pick up more and more on this. But essentially what the professor emphasizes or spends a little bit more time on or asks more students about, these materials and subjects are usually the ones that will end up on the test or exam. So this is just another benefit of being present during class, really understanding how the material is being taught and picking up on some of those nuances, even when they're subtle, to really understand what the professor is emphasizing and what will likely end up on your exam. My final tip is to make weaknesses your strengths. When I say weaknesses, I mean maybe things that you're struggling with or have struggled with in the past. I've always struggled with math and science classes. This has always been my area of weakness, but I knew that for my major I had to take classes like chemistry, microbiology, statistics and biostatistics, all of which were very math heavy. And I knew that if I wanted to do well in those classes, I would need to put in the extra time and dedication, even when I didn't want to, even when I was busy, because this would be the difference between doing well in those classes and failing in those classes. So I attended my professor's office hours, I took extremely detailed notes during class, and also using that technique I mentioned to pick up on which materials may end up on the test. And I took very detailed notes to the point where sometimes after class I would have several pages of notes completely filled out. For me, I knew that this was the ultimate way to apply myself that would allow me to succeed in classes that I have struggled with. I knew I would not succeed otherwise. And there were also many times that I found myself sitting in the library in a cubicle or study room for hours on end, just reviewing my notes that I took during class and making those connections. I know how tedious and stressful this can be sometimes, and this may not sound like an appealing idea to you, but in my personal opinion, I don't think there's a shortcut or an easy route to fill the gaps in your knowledge, especially when it comes to areas that you may be struggling with or that you have struggled with in the past. For me, I knew that the only way I would do well in those classes would be to put in the time and dedication and to put in those hours studying, to take those detailed notes, to follow up with the professor. And doing that allowed me to ace all these classes. And that was something that I did not think was possible for myself, especially when it came to math-based classes. By doing this, by putting in the work, I achieved things that I never in a million years thought I'd be able to do. So all that to say that putting in that extra time and dedication will pay off in one form or another, as cliche as it may sound. So maybe you're sitting here watching this and thinking, if you put in that much time in your schoolwork, how did you have any other time for anything outside of school? The short answer is that I did have time, although that time was pretty limited and time management was so important. I feel like in some ways I did have to make some sacrifices when it came to family time and traveling as well. Time management was a key to maintaining a good schedule, structure, and balance in my time at school. In college, I worked part-time and volunteered part-time, but honestly, I never felt too overwhelmed with my workload, and that was due to time management and having a consistent and structured schedule. I also wanted to mention and encourage anyone who may be currently a college student, just make sure that you're taking time for yourself and really understanding and remembering that you come first above all other responsibilities, no matter how important they may seem. Your academics, your work, your internships, you come first before that. So make sure to take time for your breaks, to take time for self-care, and also to take time for things that you love that don't have to do with school or work. My key tip is to listen to your body, get enough sleep, take naps if you need to, work out even when you don't feel like it. Make sure that you're eating all your meals. Try to eat healthy if you can. And doing all these things will actually help you succeed in academics because you'll have the foundation of feeling good every day and waking up and feeling like you're ready to take on all that's on your plate. And I think it's so important as a student, especially with so much going on, that you prioritize your self-care and your health and well-being above anything else. If you're a new or incoming student, I wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to do amazing things and make yourself and your loved ones proud. If you found this to be a helpful resource, please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.